So the 6 steps are, the F is find your prospects. Find them. Where are they? Go find them. How many ways do you have? I've got 99. 99 ways that I could find people. I don't use all 99 at the same time, but you've got to have 3 to 5 going pretty much all the time. The U is understand their desires, what we were just talking about, right? What do they want, right? The N is then navigate what they want in a way that they want it. And if I'm throwing in the second one because I had too many N's, was also know your numbers, right? Know your numbers and measure. The second N is niche your message. I didn't say pick a niche. I said niche your message, right? Which is different. So the question I would ask you is, would you talk to women? Let's say women is your market. Are you going to talk to a 20-year-old different than you talk to a 50-year-old, right? The answer is yes. Then you have to niche your message. Well, how do I do that, Diane? Well, it only has to be about 15 to 20% different for those 2 segments of your list, but niche your message. The E is email sequences, right? You're going to have to send more than one email because especially in today's world when everybody's getting, 150 emails a day, you got to make sure they see it. So sequence your emails. And then the L is leverage. Leverage your way to business success. And if you want a bonus S, if you want to make the funnels plural, then systemize the process. Systemize the process so that it can be and leverage we could talk about for days as far as ways to do that, automation, other people, whatever. So that's it. Find them, understand them, navigate, niche, email, leverage, and if you want a bonus S, is systemize.
Welcome to the $1 Million Equation Podcast, a podcast about the easiest, fastest way to build $1 million business based on the best-selling book, The $1 Million Equation. If you love business, each episode reveals all of the core fundamental essentials for growth. Now, here's your host, Richelle Shaw.
There we go. So again, here I am with a business bestie. Only people that are rock stars, only people that know what the hell they're talking about, only people that are committed to giving you the goods, not the bullshit fluff. Don't you hate that? I hate the bullshit fluff. I just absolutely hate it. And a fellow cusser, so I love that too, because we can just shoot the shit and everybody gets it. But I would love to introduce to you my friend, Diane Conklin. Yay! So, Diane, gosh, how long has it been? 10? 12?
At least. Probably 12, maybe 15.
Oh my gosh.
I know.
We were babies.
Right.
There
right.
was no gray hair.
Standing in the back of the room, getting ready to go to the front with you and Vicky and me in the middle and, being silly. That's like the thing that, yeah.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah, well, that was 2010. So,
right.
And it took me a while to even apply to be marketer of the year because I was like, I can't be marketer of the year. So, Jesus. Right. Wow. That was a long time.
Yeah. Right. But that's like, I still have that memory planted firmly in my head of the 3 of us standing back there.
Yeah, just waiting, and I'm shaking like this, going, oh my gosh, and talking a mile a minute. And I was laughing because when I went to Bill Glazer's, his outrageous marketing weekend, right? So I was speaking, and as I got off the stage, one of the guys goes, wait a minute, if it don't make dollars, it don't make sense. And I'm like, oh, you know me, you remember me. Like that was so long ago. But he was like, right. Yeah, I remember everything you said. I'm like, oh my gosh, so long ago.
That's great.
Today, because we go back so long, we've been in this space for so long, there's so many things that we see come and go. Fads come and go, right? Yep. I was laughing this morning. This woman was saying, okay, what is everybody using for an email, delivery service? And I kind of giggle because they're all basically the same. I mean, they can all do 90% of it, right? And so I was like, well, just pick one. How about you do that? And so then, there was this whole long discussion on the thread of, well, but double opt-in, if you don't want spam. And I'm like, oh my God, you just ruined this woman's business right here.
Right. And nobody does that anymore.
Nobody does the opt-in. Right?
Right. It's unnecessary now.
Oh,
Wow.
oh,
Right. And,
right?
people get all wrapped around the axle about that. And, they're like, oh, I need to switch because this is happening. And I'm like, yeah, you're just trading one set of problems for another, you know, for a, for a
Or
whole lot of hassle.
there's something wrong with all of them, with
Yep.
every tool. That's why, if you talk to us, right? Like we've got every tool there is. It's like, well,
Yep.
oh yeah, I have that one. I got that one
Right.
too. I use them both
Yep.
because this one solves this problem better than this one does. There,
Yep.
there really isn't, and I don't know about you, but I try to stay away from the all-inclusive ones because I did that for years.
Yep.
And what I found is that when they go down, when there's a problem, when they get mad at you, right,
Yep.
for, doing something that they think is wrong, then now you're stuck.
Right. Or you end up OOB for the day, right? Out of business because
Yes.
everything is now down, you know?
Yep.
Yeah, the thing that I often say too is that I think we do that sometimes because we're looking for the magic, right? The magic has to be out there when in fact we miss the point, right? The magic is right here. The magic is in you. You're the magic. It's not out there. It's not in somebody else. It's not in some magical formula or program or funnel or email or anything like that. The magic is you and you communicating with your client base and your specific directed target market, right? Message, market, media. It's the basic marketing triangle. It works, but we try to complicate things.
That's why she's my friend. That's why she's my friend, because she gets it. Well, that's we used to giggle all the time when we would be in a conference room or at seminars because we were everywhere, right, together for so long. And, people would go, oh, I bought that and, it didn't really work like I thought. And we'd go, you believe the sales letter. Right? You got the
Right.
fairy dust, right?
Right.
And at the end of it, there's not one thing that's going to change anything. Not one
Nope.
thing. And if they tell you it's the one thing, then you should be
Run.
very leery. Now
Right.
it can
Run for your life.
what you have, but that's not it. So that's gonna well tell everybody your background too before we jump into just running, right? Just 2 minutes of who you are, how you got here, and why we're really friends. Because when she tells you, how many businesses she helped build to $1 million, but just tell them.
So my name is Diane Conklin. My company is CompleteMarketingSystems.com, and I've been in business for 25 years. I've helped a lot of companies do a lot of different things, but sort of the gist of what I do is help people take their business from wherever they are to the next level, whether you're trying to get to 6 figures, you're already at 6 and you want to go to 7. As Richelle has alluded to, I've got 6 companies that we literally took from 0 to 6 figures in 90 days. I have 4 companies that I took to $1 million or more in 12 months or less, and I now have 2 companies that have gone on to 8 figures and beyond. So again, that's over the course of 25 years. That sounds impressive, but it's really the day-to-day, right? It's no more impressive than, what Richelle has done or a lot of other people. It's fun. I love it. I love helping people, grow their companies as much as I love growing my own. So I, live in Atlanta, Georgia right now, and I've kind of been on and off here for the last 20 years or so. And just, like Richelle, right? I'm just doing my thing. And my big thing is trying to help other people, right? I have a little note on the hutch of my desk here that says, make a living while making a difference. And that's, in a nutshell, that's kind of what I'm about.
Yeah. Well, that's it. The theme of this whole summit, financial freedom. And really, every single person that I've interviewed has said that, I'm here to make a difference. And I think that's why we're friends. I also think that's why you've been around for 25 years, right? You cannot really succeed if you're just taking. Eventually, you're going to blow up and it's all going to come crashing down.
Yeah. Yeah,
Unless
it's about
you do
serving and doing the right thing, right? I mean, it's
Yeah.
one of the reasons that I talk about, I don't do cookie cutters. Cookie cutters were made to be in the kitchen, not in your business, because your business, as much as we say, and there are basic things about business that are universal, your business is different because you're different, because your clients are different, because your services are different. And so, I've really moved away from, in my career, sort of that cookie cutter, here's a course, go do it kind of thing, and more into individualized consulting, coaching kinds of things, because it is different. I mean, right now I have 3 people in my coaching business that are all in the same industry, and their businesses look completely different, and they've all been in that business for 15 years or more. So it's, it's just, it's fun. And that to me is what keeps it fun. Somebody said to me the other day, Diane, what's your niche? I said, my niche is diversity, because you name an industry and I've probably helped somebody in it. So.
Right. And, even when you have those 3 that are in the same industry, but their business looks totally different, is because everybody's got different goals. Yeah. Is your goal really to get to the million, or is it that you just want to be at $500,000? Do you, I mean, because that there's different skills and tactics and time requirements for the different levels. And so, of course, the business is going to look different. And to that point, Richelle, just before we move on, so I think that's an important point, right? And you taught me this, because people, everybody says, oh, you got to build your business to $1 million, right? And I remember having a conversation with you, and I remember you saying this to me, and a light bulb went off, because you said, you know what? I'm cool, right? I'm at about $500,000. I get up in the morning, I have breakfast with my kid, I take her to school every day, I come home, I work from like 9 to 3, I go pick her up, and we spend the evening together doing homework and sports. And I thought to myself, you know what? Isn't that cool that that people reach a level and it's okay to be there, whether your number's 100,000, 50,000, 500,000, you don't have to continue striving to more. And I think that's a really important point to make. Yeah. Well, I think, so often is that because they don't, I think I was okay with being there is because I'd already done the other, I'd already done $100 million. Right. And so I know that, money is in burning through it, and you don't at a certain tipping point. It's kind of like buying traffic, right? There's no real ROI. You get to a point where, okay, well, wait a minute. If this is going to take me away from my kid, well, why am I doing it? Right. And she was like, yeah, no, I've been to every single volleyball practice she's had. Everyone, I can tell when she tosses the ball if the serve is going over, or if it's going in the net. And that is what makes me happy these days.
Right.
When she gets in the car, we break down the game, and she's like, okay, mommy, well, tell me. And I'm like, well, if you notice, you were trying to, instead of getting there first, and now I've never played the game in my life. Never. I couldn't tell you. And when I try to go on the court, I can't do it. But because I've been to every practice, I can tell little things. And that's what I think what makes me great is that I notice nuances. I notice little, Jim Rohn, little hinges that are going to swing big doors. And so even for my kid and everything in her life, I've been able to do that for her. And you know what? This friend may not be the best, but hey, these are things I want you to look at and consider. And then you tell me if you want to still, be friends with this person. Right. And just helping her through that process. And I think that people get caught up in, I have to get to the million, and when they get to the million, well, I have to get to 3, and because this business is 3, and that constant state of comparison is killing them.
Yeah, you buy into somebody else's dream, and
instead
we become
of your own.
Right, because
what
we
is it
lose.
That you really want?
Right, and we lose that. Right, what is it that you really want? Not the industry, not the person you're working with, not the coach, not whoever, right? I mean, what do you really want? And how much time do you spend thinking about that and journaling or writing about that and then really focusing on, as the famous book, that one thing.
That is. Because once you get there, it's like, oh, okay. You know what I mean? It is really nice to live your life on your own terms. And so many folks don't get it. Like they don't understand how you're able to do that. And, they'll say, hey, Richelle, how's it going? I go, hey, living the dream. And they go, oh, really? Yeah. Yeah. Right. The only person in competition I am is within myself. Like, right. I'll get down on me going, hey, Richelle, this is not a good lifestyle that you got going right. on here, right?
Right.
You do need to work that 9 to 3, because I will get to the point where I'm like, well, I can do it in 30 minutes instead of committing to all the things I can do in the 6
right.
hours.
Yeah.
So, and that comes from me taking my focus off of helping others.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And turning that focus back to, okay, well, what do I want? Well, I should make some money, so here I'm going to do this. Instead of, okay, stop. How can I be most valuable to those that are out there? Which is why I stopped one-on-one coaching, because I wasn't valuable to them after a certain point. And, let me explain just a little bit. But what would happen is, I am not a feel-good, fix your brain, get you off your ass to get it done, because I don't understand that, right? If even this that I'm doing now, if I got to work 15 hours a day, then I just worked 15 hours a day. Right. I commit to do it. So even when I rebuilt back my telephone company, yeah, I put my head down. I didn't even know it was close to $1 million. I was just doing everything in my power to get it back going. Right.
Yeah.
And so I don't understand when folks don't do that. So I'm not empathetic, or, I had turned the corner to being almost too empathetic. Like, they would tell me the story and I'd go, oh, yeah. Because any story would do at that point. So I was like, right. You know what? I'm doing you a disservice, because, I had a client who had been with me for a long time and was not implementing. Okay. So every time we talk about why they weren't implementing, this is crazy. This is crazy, right? Just freaking do it. And then I want to, snap out of it. What are you doing? And it just, finally I had to just release them to, you know what? Yeah, this, no, because any idea will work.
Right.
It's not the new shiny object. It's not, okay, well, now I want to do a funnel. That's not your problem. That's not your problem.
Thank you so much for listening to my passion project and the $1 Million Equation podcast. Love what you're hearing? If you like it, I love it. So click the subscribe button to get each week your new favorite episode.
So let's talk about that. Today's time that we're going to spend together is all about, what's this mystic, what's this magic of a funnel, and do you really need one? So, can you really run a successful business without marketing funnels?
I'm going to say yes and no, right? So I have a client that I took to 6 figures in a continuity business, and he not only did he not have a funnel, he didn't have a website, right? So no lie, in a continuity business, he had no website, right?
Wow.
But so, you can, and I think the thing is, most people need some standardized kind of funnel, right? And what I do is I have sort of this 7-step funnel that I sort of use for most things. It's not about, the traditional funnel, right, that you see, right? Put a bunch in up here and a few come out down here. Because guess what, Richelle? It doesn't work that way. First of all, it doesn't work that way. It never did. And those funnels aren't working anymore. So a marketing funnel is really a theoretical journey. This is my definition. It's a theoretical journey that a client moves through your system with, right? It's a theoretical journey. And the purpose is the systemized way that you take people from being a prospect, moving them through to becoming a client, then a customer, and then a referral base, right? So how do you
Yep.
get them to buy the first time? That's becoming a customer. Then how do you get them to buy over and over again and becoming a client, right? And then how do you
Right.
get those clients to continue to buy? That's really what this is about. And it's
Yes.
not some complicated if then arrows here and yes and 937 steps. It's just not.
No. Well, I giggled because I was laughing the first time I went to sell, I don't know, was it? It might have been my book. I think it was an ebook before the $1 Million Equation was done. And I was like, okay, well, here it is, And so I sold a ton of them. And then when I was selling to cold people, though, like I needed this 920, like there was 15 steps I had to do to get you to spend $10. I was like, please,
Right.
I sold $1 million customer last week. $1 million with, hey, with an email. Are you kidding
Right.
me? I need to do this 17 steps to get you to buy this thing. I was done. At that point, I said, you know what? Life is easier. Life is so much easier. And I refused to do it. So for years, I just wouldn't even tolerate. Like when you came to me and said, oh, well, here's this multi-step. I'm like, no. And I think I was one of the original users of Infusionsoft, like back when, when it was before its name change and all of these things and, $5,000 plus $3,000 to train me plus, $500 a month. Plus, I just can't even describe, and all it did was slow down my income.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yep.
That's it. What's we were giggling earlier. So what's the shortest, easiest marketing funnel?
Shortest, easiest marketing funnel. It's right here. And I know this is going to age me because, yes, it has a cord on it. It's a landline. It's this. Hey, Richelle. How you doing, man? Can we talk for a minute about, I have this amazing thing that I think you would like, right? So what I should have done is I should have gone like this, right? Then you wouldn't have thought I was such a geek, right? But it's
now,
the
are you
phone,
kidding me?
right?
Mine's over there.
Right.
Mine's
See?
right over there.
Two peas in a pod. But it's the phone.
Yeah.
Pick up the phone, right? Talk to somebody. I mean, and none of us want to do that, partially because when you pick this up now, it grows hair and it gets like 7 times as big and it's got a heartbeat of its own and you go, oh my gosh, right? Look, it still has a dial tone, right? I mean, that's what happens though. It's like, oh, you want me to talk to somebody? Like we can't say that. No, can't I just send them a text message? No, just talk to them. Right? Because when they say yes, guess what? You just made a sale and you didn't need 937 steps.
No, just talk to them. Well, so many, they're running from success almost. It's like all the things that you don't want to do, I know that you think that an online business is going to prevent you from ever having to talk to anybody again, but you won't make any money. If you don't talk to them, you will not make any money.
And that hasn't worked, when the online world started, back when you and I, were new at this, it was the old joke, right? Of the dog sitting by the computer saying, online, nobody knows I'm a dog, right? And that may have been true back then, but today it's not. People are now back into the relationship piece. They want to get to know you, right? They want to kind of, see who you are and feel like you understand them. And so, it's not that. If you think that, you should go do something else because running a successful online business is not about being hands off.
Yeah. Well, even I think it was, maybe it was, I saw you post about Perry Belcher, and I think it was Perry or Ryan Dice or Russell Brunson or Matt Basic, one of those, back had to be 10 years ago. Who said, let me tell you something, you get them online, but your second step as quickly as possible is to get them offline so that you can communicate with them. Yep. And those 5 guys are still killing it, right? Yep. And we've seen so many come and go. Because they never took them from the online to an offline situation so that they could communicate with them. And at the core, the internet is just a media. That's it. Your business, the fundamentals of the business don't change. They just don't. change. And so, using the software or funnel programs out there today, is there something magic about them?
Don't get me started, right? I mean, and that's how they get sold, right? Is it's magic, right? We're gonna the funnel is there. It's and again, I'm not gonna mention any names, but look, you still have to write the email. You still have to put it in there. You still have to send the sequence. There is no magic in the software. There's no magic anywhere. The magic is in you. You're the magic, right? Writing the message that resonates with your people, right? It's message, market, media. It's the basic marketing triangle. If you get those three things right, it's over. Whether you've got, whatever, it doesn't matter what email program you have, what funnel program you have. Send the message out, whether it's online, whether it's on social media, whether it's direct mail. It doesn't matter what the media is. What matters is you hitting the right message. So there is no magic in any of those things. And, I would apologize, but I won't, because it's real. That's what's real. I mean, that's the truth, right? And again, I'm not going to affect, those guys' sales by saying that, but you're the magic. If you hear nothing else from the time we spend together.
How you do it, it will work. We have for one of my clients, they have a live event that just goes to Eventbrite. And they don't have a follow-up, a funnel, it just goes there. If you're interested, just go there, right? How many free services are there? I just go on and on and on about, do you need to really be spending $300 a month? Is that, I'd rather you be spending that $300 in a direct mail piece or in your newsletter or, in your advertising budget so that you can reach those people that are there, not on a tool. And then you think about, the whole gold rush, right? The only people that made money in the gold rush, not the people with the gold, it was the people with the tools. And so that's where we are here. It's the people who are making money online are the people with tools, even copywriting. So I will see how people will say, oh, I need a really great copywriter. Now, don't get me wrong. Diane, you are a fabulous copywriter. There are lots of people out there that are great at it. However, what makes them great is that they get into your business and figure out who your customer is, right? You know that already. You know who your customer is.
Oh, yeah.
And, that difference from this and this is really, I had the #1 copywriter in the world write a direct mail piece for me. Okay? We all know him. It's Dan Kennedy. When I had my local group, he said, hey, I'll write a direct mail piece. Do you need it? Well, why would I ever say no? Right?
Right.
Yeah. He's like, well, okay, here's your list. Here it is. It's, 3 steps, and here you go. I mailed it, and not for nothing. It had nothing to do with him. It had to do with, it wasn't in my voice.
Right.
So the list that I wrote it to was like, what is this?
Right.
And it didn't really have a great conversion. I went, okay. Here's the challenge. The challenge is not that I needed this person. The challenge is I needed to be my own magic. Exactly what you said.
And the misconception is that it has to be great, right? You don't need a great copywriter. You don't need a great copy. You don't need a great product. What you need is exactly what you just said. You need to know who your target market is. That's the piece, right? When you figure out who your market is, then the message and the media can be good, and it's good enough to make you a lot of money.
A lot of money. And I in both my breakthrough course and in my 100K in 100 days course, right? In both of those, we spend so much time on the who. And if I tell you how frustrated, the person gets, when do we get to? When do we get to? Because they've been sold the magic pill for so long. And I go, okay, well, look, if you fix this who you are first, and then who you are targeting, I promise you that it doesn't matter what media you use, except for one that they don't use, right? Like if they don't read the newspaper, then don't put it there. But
Right.
if you want to do a tactic, like a virtual summit that I'm doing now, a live event, a party, a direct, whatever it is, as long as you know the who, it'll make you money.
Yep.
And know what their problems are.
Yep.
But if it can't be what you want for them. It has to be what they want for themselves.
Bingo.
And so I say it all the time. It's like, go ahead.
That's the key. That's the key. Is what do people want? Not what they need. And not what you think they need. It's what they want, right?
Yes.
Can you give them what they want, and can you give it to them in the way they want it?
Yes.
Right?
Well, I had this lady that came to MDE Live one time, right? So we're sitting there, and she has a relationship business that she's counseled couples for 25 years, and she wants to put it online. And I said, well, why? Oh, because, that's where everybody is, and that's where they're all going. I go, but you have this business that you've been selling to them, one way, because what are you what's your offer? Couples counseling online, really? Are you going to do it in a group? Oh yeah, that's fun. They're not going to be honest with you, right? Is that you have to sell to people how they want to buy, not how you like to sell.
Right.
Okay? So if you don't like picking up the phone, but in order to get $1 million or a check for $10,000, I got to pick up the phone eventually. They're not going to click the button and say, here's my credit card online.
Right.
Without talking to me. That's got to be part of the Diane Conklin magic funnel, right? That thing with the cord that's attached, the big hairy thing. Yeah.
Right.
But I said, so why are you want to go online because you think that this is easy. You want to go online because you think that this is fun. Your business, relationship counseling, is you can do an ebook, you can write a book, but it's not going to produce the money that this is producing for you.
Right.
Well, and she was, I think she's still buying courses, 6 years later, trying to do this thing that they don't want to hear the truth. So at the end of the day, people buy what they want. Yep. And your job is to give them what they want. So sometimes it makes it hard for us who have this in our hearts that we want to do better, right? Because, I have to fire clients often. I have to release them to the world and say, okay, you know what? Look, I know that you like to drink, and I know that you're here in my bar, but this is killing you, so I won't let you drink in my bar anymore. Right? That's the right thing to do. Hey, I know that you like to acquire courses. I know that you think that this is the right thing for your business, but I'm telling you, because I've been doing this, I have one job in my life. I've been doing this 30 years. This is not going to work. Right. And then I released her to the wolves who took the rest of her money.
Yeah. And, here's the thing, too, that people forget, right? Give them what they want and also what they need, right? So if you do the combination of the two things, one, they're happy because, I got what I wanted. I got my little red Corvette, right? That's what I wanted. Well, and inside of that, we also built in these amazing safety features, and we built in this, bulletproof. I'm making this up, right? But no. Whatever it is. And so you didn't ask for that. It's not what you said you wanted, but now you're even happier because, wow, my little red Corvette came with the #1 safety features in the whole entire, planet of cars. Cool, right? But you couldn't sell them on that. You had to sell them on the red or the Corvette name or the speed or whatever it was because that's what they wanted.
I love it. And truthfully, that's how I sleep at night. Because we can agree that Dan Kennedy told us both that we can't be tied to their results. We can't be tied in whether they do it or not. That's not us. Well, that is me though.
Hard, yeah, it's hard, right? You're responsible to them, not for them, and I hear that over in my head a lot. Yeah. And I'm probably better at it now than I've ever been because look, I gave it to you. What are you doing with it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Whether you implement and execute it or not is up to you. I can't come there and sit in your office and, make you do the work. It really comes down to your own motivation level and what's important to you, right? It's the old saying of, when it's something that's important to you, you'll do whatever it takes. If you're just interested, you'll do what's convenient. And sometimes it's just convenient, or sometimes it's not the right time or commitment, or, it's interesting because lately I've had a lot of people say, well, this happened, or I've had this happen. And I think to myself, and sometimes I say it, do you think you're the only person in the world who has crap going on in your life outside of your business? We all have that. The question is, are you going to let it distract you during your work hours, right? Whether it's 9 to 3 or not 8 to 4 or 8 to 5 or whatever. Like when I work, I glue my butt to this chair and I work. And when it's playtime, then I go play. Right? But, I don't look up and say, oh, crap, look, there's some dust. I need to go dust. No, it's time to work. And I think that's one of the sort of things that, while it's not popular, right, the D word, right, it's called discipline.
Yes, that is what it's called. And not in addition to that, it is, if you think that there's ever a perfect time where you're not going to have these distractions, you've lost your mind.
Right. It doesn't exist. There's never a perfect time. There's never a perfect place. There's never the right amount of money. It's never there. You're either going to do it or you're not.
Or you're not. And it comes down to making the commitment. And I believe that so many things are thrown at you over and over and over again when you're so close to that goal, right?
Yeah.
And so the every time that I've had something crazy happens, it's because, it's time for me to push through it. And then when I get to the other side, I go, wow, that was crazy. So much stuff happened.
Yeah.
But it definitely gets you there. And it really is, do you want it or not? Do you really want this? And why 3% succeed? And why, folks who are just playing in between jobs, it's like, there's no offer that you can make me that would say, okay, well, I will go there for the rest of my life. No.
Right.
No. Because I think that that you're an entrepreneur and that you're an entrepreneur. So what's your acronym for funnels? So
So this is, I love acronyms. And so it's the 6 steps, right? So the 6 steps are, the F is find your prospects, find them. Where are they? Go find them. How many ways do you have? I've got 99. 99 ways that I can find people. I don't use all 99 at the same time, but you've got to have 3 to 5 going pretty much all the time. The U is understand their desires, what we were just talking about, right? What do they want, right? The N is then navigate what they want in a way that they want it. And if I'm throwing in the second one because I had too many N's, was also know your numbers, right? Know your numbers and measure. The second N is niche your message. I didn't say pick a niche. I said niche your message, right? Which is different. So the question I would ask you is, would you talk to women? Let's say women is your market. Are you going to talk to a 20-year-old different than you talk to a 50-year-old, right? The answer is yes. Then you have to niche your message. Well, how do I do that, Diane? Well, it only has to be about 15 to 20% different for those 2 segments of your list, but niche your message. The E is email sequences, right? You're going to have to send more than 1 email because especially in today's world when everybody's getting 150 emails a day, you got to make sure they see it. So sequence your emails. And then the L is leverage. Leverage your way to business success. And if you want a bonus S, if you want to make the funnels plural, then systemize the process. Systemize the process so that it can be and leverage we could talk about for days as far as ways to do that. Automation, other people, whatever. So that's it. Find them, understand them, navigate, niche, email, leverage, and if you want a bonus S, is systemize.
I love that because it truly is, building a business. That's exact the $1 million equation. And I don't know how many times we say it over and over and over again, but sometimes I hope that it clicked for our audience today so that they've got that.
Hey, MDE Nation, I have some openings to work with me and my team on building your own $1 million business. Or if you already have the $1 million business, you want to add another 2 or 10. Hey, let's spend some time together. The easiest, fastest way is to make sure it's a good fit is to go check out my free training, how to add another $1 million to your business this year, right? You can go grab it for free by going to www.627figures.com. The number 6, T-O, number 7, figures.com. You will see the 3 easiest things you can do in your business right now to get to the $1 million faster, and see kind of how my brain works and how we actually work with our private clients. I'm excited to help you add that extra $1 million to your bottom line. Let's have some fun.
All right, so here's my favorite question is, tell me about your favorite client ever. Not your ideal, not, we all know that we want somebody open and ready to work with us, and do what we say, not them. But your favorite client that you've ever had. Tell me about it.
This is the easiest question on the planet for me. It's so obvious. And if you want to follow a really amazing model, go look this guy up. His name is Casey Graham. And Casey lives here in the metro Atlanta area. He actually lives out in Cumming. But I met Casey right after I won 2011 when I won the Info Marketer of the Year award. And I'm standing in the hallway at the hotel. I don't even know where we were now. And this guy, and I'm short, so I kind of had, I'd look up to everybody. This bald-headed guy, again, go look him up on social media. You'll see. Looks at me, taps me on the shoulder, and says, I want to talk to you, and I've heard about this continuity thing, and I'm so impressed with what you just did, but not right now. And off he went. And I'm like, who in the world is this guy, right? And what is he on? And so, long story short, Casey is the one that I told you he worked with small churches. And to tell you, Casey's quote is, I was driving around broke as a joke in my little red truck all over Atlanta. And when I say small churches, it's startups, like startup churches in community centers, not these big mega churches.
Yeah, right.
So his idea was, I want to do a continuity program for these guys at $97 a month. And I'm like, it's not going to work. He said, why not? I said, 1, they have to get permission to spend the money. 2, none of that money's going in their pocket. This is going to fall flat on its face. And he said, I'm going to do this. You're going to help me or not? I was like, okay. So 90 days later, with one simple sentence, and he actually sent me a text the other night that said, Diane, why don't you do a webinar? Because that's what I said to him, right? Going to do the continuity program. I said, what's the secret sauce? And that was kind of the big thing. We did a webinar. Long story short, he ended up selling 79 in the first webinar at $97 a piece, was at 6 figures at that point, and went on to grow the company in 12 months to exactly $1 million. Had multiple offers within 3 years of companies to buy that they wanted to buy him out. Yeah. And so he finally took a deal about 3 years into the deal, multiple 7 figures. It was a total walk away. Here it is. I'm having nothing to do with. He took a year and a half to decide what he was going to do next. He tried some things. It didn't work. It failed. He went into kind of a depression. He took, by the way, his number one gal, whose name was Renee, with him. So he gave her part of the buyout. He called me about a year ago. It's been about a year and a few months ago now, and said, hey, I have an idea. I want to run by you. And he's now running a company called Gravy. It's gravysolutions.io. And he's essentially helping people who have continuity programs who have people who don't pay, right? So he's helping them recover that money. And his goal is by 2023 to do $1 billion with a B dollars. And he just had his first $1 million month at the 12-month mark. There's something magical for him in that 12-month mark. But he's just a great guy. And he has just the spirit about him, and he's created such an amazing culture that, truly I now watch what he's doing. And what's really cool about Casey, and this I think is more so than with anyone else, not only does he have that energy, but to this day, 9 years later, and a completely different business, he still says to me every time I see him, every time we talk on the phone, every time I communicate with him, None of this would be possible without you. And it's just really heartwarming, not because I need that credit, but to see somebody who comes from that serving place. He'll send me a message. A couple years ago, he was in Italy for a week, he and his wife and their 2 kids. He sends me a message with a picture of, you can just see this itty bitty little like white body on the back of this rock, right? And he said, that little white thing that you see is me jumping off the cliff in Italy. He spent 2 weeks there, and he said none of this would be possible without you. So,
that's fun.
Far and above my favorite, one, because it's a great story, and 2, because he's just such an amazing guy.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. I love it. All right. So then my last one is always, all right, what is, I don't care when they're watching it because we pretty much have the same message. But, they always like to put a timing on. So if they wanted to crush these last 6 months of the year, it's the one thing they need to do.
This is going to sound really basic and simple, but you need to sit down and make a basic plan of what you're going to do, and then backward plan the steps that it takes to do it, and then glue your butt to the chair, take some action, and just get her done, right? I mean, that sounds so simple, but the first mistake people make is they throw so much mud on the wall just trying stuff because they don't have a plan. So they say yes to everything. They get BSOS, right? Bright, shiny object syndrome. Yep. And they just do stuff with no plan, and then they wonder why it didn't work. If you will sit down and say, this is where I want to be, and this is how much money I want to make, and that's where I start. How much money do you want to make? And then what are the programs, products, and services you need to have or develop to get there? Yeah. And then backward plan that. So let's say the number is, we have 6 months left in the year, right? Let's say the number is 60,000 because it's easy and I can figure that out, right? So it's 10 grand a month. So what do you have in place now that you can do 10 grand a month? And then every month you need to know how much you did. Oh, we did 8,000. I'm 2,000 behind. Guess what? The next month you have to do 12. Yeah. Oh, we did 15. Well, don't slack off. Put the pedal to the metal, right? And here's a big key that I found. If you will work in 90-day increments, see, you can accomplish things in 90 days. So if you look at 90 days, you can do that. Set your goal in 90 days and then work the next 90 days. If you'll treat every 90 days of the year as a year, because what happens? Here's what happens. We go, it's June. I got 6 more months. And then we go, oh, crap, it's October. I better get a gear. And then from October to December, we miraculously make the amount of money that we wanted to make. Why? Because for 90 days we worked. We did something. We took action. Yep. So do that every 90 days and watch your annual income turn into your quarterly income. Yes. That was a long answer to a simple question.
No, but I loved it. I loved it. You hear me? I was like, yeah. No, fantastic. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate your time. It took us a while to get it together, but I'm so glad. As I told you in the email, and I will say it publicly, I couldn't imagine doing this without you. So I'm so grateful and gracious. You have been amazing, and I know when they listen to you, they're like, yes.
So I don't always tell them what they want to hear, but it's definitely what they need to hear. And let me just say thank you. It's always an honor to be exposed to someone else's list and group, but it's especially an honor to be asked by you, who I love so much and have so much respect for. So thank you.
Thank you, my friend. Thank you, everybody. We'll see you soon.